On your block in Macomb County, where General Motors announced it will lay off 1,000 white-collar employees.
Ford has executed an incredible coup that has left General Motors reeling in the aftermath. This isn't just about a victory on the market. No, Ford didn't simply win. They completely humiliated GM in the fallout. Well, it's sending GM into a wild whirlwind of confusion and disarray that few saw coming. So what led to this spectacular showdown? Did Ford tap into a secret formula for success that we all wish we could discover? Are we witnessing a pivotal shift in the auto industry that could change our future? The automotive giants clash. In the annals of the American automotive industry, few rivalries loom as large as the one between Ford Motor Company and General Motors. Both companies have not only shaped the landscape of car manufacturing, but have also contributed significantly to the cultural and economic fabric of the United States. Ford Motor Company was born in 1903 thanks to the visionary mind of Henry Ford. Before Ford, automobiles were luxury items, out of reach for the average person. Henry Ford changed that narrative by introducing assembly line production in 1912. This revolutionary approach dramatically lowered costs and made automobiles accessible to the masses, thereby democratizing car ownership. The iconic Model T, launched in 1908, became a symbol of freedom and mobility, with millions hitting the roads across America. Ford's approach didn't stop at the production line. Henry Ford demonstrated a keen understanding of labor relations and workforce satisfaction. He transformed labor practices by implementing a $5 workday, much higher than the industry standard at that time. This strategy not only improved employee morale and productivity, but also allowed workers to become customers themselves, creating a broader market for Ford's vehicles. Meanwhile, General Motors emerged around the same time, established in 1908 primarily as a holding company for Buick. Under the leadership of William C. Durant, GM quickly diversified its portfolio, acquiring brands such as Cadillac, Chevrolet, and Pontiac. This diversification allowed GM to target various market segments, from luxury buyers to the burgeoning middle class looking for affordable cars. By the mid-20th century, GM had overtaken Ford as the largest car manufacturer in the world, a title it would hold for decades. The rivalry between these two automotive behemoths intensified significantly during the Great Depression, a period when both companies sought to maintain sales amidst economic turmoil. Ford focused on efficiency and affordability, while GM emphasized style and luxury, carving out distinct niches. This period set the stage for not just a rivalry, but an ideological clash between the two automotive titans, a clash that continues to evolve in today's rapidly changing market. Recent developments. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the automotive industry finds itself at yet another pivotal crossroads. The rise of electric vehicles has reshaped the landscape. Companies like Tesla have emerged as formidable contenders, captivating consumers with forward-thinking innovations in battery technology and an eco-friendly ethos that resonates with the modern consumer. Recognizing the urgency of this transition, both Ford and GM made ambitious announcements regarding their commitment to electric mobility. Ford unveiled its Mustang Mach-E and the electrifying F-150 Lightning, two pivotal models in its EV strategy aimed at capturing market share in a landscape increasingly dominated by environmentally conscious consumers. The response from the public was overwhelmingly positive, propelling Ford into a new era of growth. General Motors, under the leadership of CEO Mary Barra, made a grand claim to go all electric by 2035. While this bold statement positioned GM as a leader in the transition, it also exposed a vulnerability. Many critics argued that GM had lagged behind in the race for electric vehicles, and it would take a Herculean effort to catch up. As Ford surged ahead with new offerings and consumer enthusiasm, GM faced an uphill battle in reshaping public perception. Both companies also contended with external pressures and shifting consumer preferences as sustainability became an imperative consideration for many car buyers. The advent of advanced manufacturing technologies and an emphasis on sustainability dictated who could successfully navigate this changing market landscape. This intense competition heightened the stakes for each company as they geared up for a new era in automotive history. Ford's bold moves. In this climate of intense competition, Ford's recent decisions have astonished industry observers and consumers alike. The company not only accelerated its commitment to electric vehicles, but also leveraged its historic brand loyalty to ensure a seamless transition for existing customers. Ford's marketing strategy focused on highlighting the performance, affordability, and reliability of its new electric offerings, crafting a narrative that positioned these vehicles as not just eco-friendly alternatives, but as high-performance performance automobiles that could hold their own against traditional gas guzzlers. The reveal of the Mustang Mach-E in November 20th, 2019 garnered immense media coverage. This electric SUV appealed not only to Mustang enthusiasts, but also attracted a younger demographic interested in sustainability. Ford managed to capture the essence of the iconic Mustang in fully electric form, drawing positive reactions from critics and customers alike. The Mach-E redefined what an electric vehicle could be, showcasing impressive acceleration and modern technology features, including advanced driver assistance systems. Furthermore, initiatives like Ford Pro demonstrated Ford's commitment to commercial customers, ensuring that businesses could thrive with the help of Ford's electric capabilities. The Ford Pro platform integrates various services, including vehicle management and charging solutions, making it easier for companies to transition to electric fleets. This strategic move not only expanded Ford's customer base, but also solidified its reputation as a forward-thinking company poised to lead the industry into the electric future. In addition, Ford's commitment to sustainability was reinforced through investments in production infrastructure. The company pledged to build new facilities dedicated to assembling electric vehicles, emphasizing its belief in American manufacturing and job creation. This not only garnered praise from various stakeholders, including local communities and government officials, but also reinforced consumer confidence in the brand's dedication to the future of transportation. General Motors struggles. In stark contrast, General Motors faced mounting criticism for what some observers perceived as a sluggish response to the electric revolution. While GM made ambitious promises, including a comprehensive electrification strategy, delays in launching new electric models led to increasing frustration among consumers and investors alike. Although GM announced the highly anticipated Hummer EV, many questioned why it took so long to revive a model that had once defined American ruggedness. Critics argued that GM's focus on traditional vehicles delayed its entry into the electric market, especially as Ford was capturing headlines and consumer attention with its new electric lineup. Moreover, the public's perception of GM began to shift. As Ford celebrated successful launches and growing consumer enthusiasm, General Motors found itself grappling with an identity crisis. Many began to view Ford not merely as a competitor, but as an innovative leader capable of defining the future of the automotive industry. Additionally, there were growing concerns regarding the direction GM was heading. As the company invested in electric vehicles, questions linger about its dedication to transitioning from an internal combustion engine-centric business to a truly electric one. Social media became a battleground where automotive enthusiasts and industry analysts critiqued GM's strategies, making it harder for the company to maintain a positive narrative in the public's eye. The stakes were high for both companies. Ford had successfully sent ripples through the automotive landscape, emerging as a front-runner in the electric arena. Meanwhile, General Motors grappled with the harsh reality of a rapidly changing marketplace, trying to find its place in an industry that was evolving at a breathtaking pace. The rivalry, once defined by historical legacies, had transformed into a battle for survival in a new paradigm of automotive excellence. The turning point. As the automotive landscape continued to evolve, Ford made a groundbreaking announcement that would reverberate throughout the industry. On May 19, 2021, Ford unveiled its ambitious plan for a substantial investment in electric vehicle production and technology. The company committed over $22 billion towards the development of electric and hybrid vehicles through 2025. This considerable financial backing indicated Ford's serious commitment to leading the charge in the electric vehicle revolution. The highlight of the announcement was the introduction of two highly anticipated models, the all-electric Ford F-150 Lightning and the electrifying Mustang Mach-E. Both vehicles were not just regular market entries, they symbolized Ford's seismic shift in vision and direction. The F-150 Lightning, which would retain the robustness and durability of its petrol-powered predecessor, was set to cater to Ford's dominant position in the truck segment while meeting the changing demands of consumers seeking eco-friendly alternatives. The reveal event drew considerable media attention, and when Ford's executives took the stage, they articulated a vision of sustainability intertwined with performance and innovation. The message was clear. Ford was not merely adapting to the future, it was seizing the opportunity to lead it. During the launch, consumers witnessed live demonstrations of the truck's capabilities, showcasing features such as its impressive towing capacity and cutting-edge technology, making it clear that electric vehicles could compete on performance, utility, and versatility. The marketing around the F-150 Lightning specifically tapped into Ford's legendary heritage, aligning its electric offering with the loyalty and affection the brand had cultivated over the decades. The net effect was captivating. Early pre-orders for the F-150 Lightning crossed 30,000 within just a few days of its announcement, a testament to consumer eagerness and brand trust. This dramatic announcement not only positioned Ford to capture significant market share, but also cast a long shadow over General Motors, whose responses would soon be put to the test. GM's counterattack. Ford basked in the glow of its successful announcements and burgeoning pre-order numbers. General Motors knew it had to act swiftly to counteract the narrative that was forming. On June 2nd, 2021, GM responded with a plan of its own, outlining a bold vision to ramp up the production of electric vehicles and ultimately transition away from gasoline-powered vehicles entirely. Mary Barra, GM's CEO, proclaimed the company's commitment to an all-electric future, promising to launch 30 new electric vehicles by 2025. Barra's presentation aimed to reassure stakeholders and consumers alike that GM was not just a follower in the electric vehicle race, but a formidable competitor with a comprehensive strategy. Amidst the flurry of announcements, GM also spotlighted its flagship model, the Chevrolet Silverado EV, set to go head-to-head with Ford's F-150 Lightning. This new electric truck was touted to have remarkable features, the promise of a very long range, advanced technology integrations, and importantly, a more affordable price point. GM hoped that this strategy would shift consumer perceptions and showcase its capabilities in the electric market. However, the response from industry analysts and consumers was mixed. While GM's efforts to clarify its electric ambitions were commendable, many critics pointed out that these announcements were reactive rather than proactive. The strong sentiment was that by the time GM unveiled its electrification roadmap, Ford had already stolen the spotlight, leading to frustrations and doubts regarding GM's capacity to catch up. Furthermore, the operational reality underneath these announcements revealed internal struggles and past failures. GM had to contend with lingering questions about its slower rollout timelines and whether it could execute its ambitious electric plans effectively. The mounting competition and public scrutiny magnified the challenges GM faced internally as the shift to electric vehicles demanded not just product innovation, but also cultural transformation throughout the organization. The fallout. The effects of Ford's monumental announcement rippled through the industry in ways that few had anticipated. Investors reacted positively to the news, driving up Ford's stock prices and signaling confidence in its strategic direction. Analysts began to publicly laud Ford's aggressive approach to electrification, effectively establishing the company as a leader in the new automotive paradigm. The atmosphere was jubilant, not just within Ford's ranks, but across a customer base eagerly awaiting the arrival of eco-friendly vehicles that didn't compromise on performance. In stark contrast, GM experienced a decline in its stock prices following Ford's success. News outlets were quick to highlight the disparity in consumer enthusiasm, showcasing pre-order numbers that firmly supported Ford's edge in the electric vehicle sector. Social media exploded with comparisons, memes, and discussions that painted Ford in a positive light while subtly questioning GM's preparedness and commitment to the electric future. Additionally, consumer sentiment began to tilt. Surveys conducted in the wake of Ford's announcements indicated a growing preference for the Ford brand among buyers looking for electric vehicles. This shift was not simply a matter of brand loyalty, it was a clear signal that consumers appreciated Ford's swift executions and tangible investments in innovation. Critics likened Ford's strategic timing to a masterclass in marketing, suggesting that it had effectively outmaneuvered GM at a critical juncture. As the two automotive giants battled for public perception, industry experts noted a growing concern around GM's sustainability and credibility. Analysts pointed out that Ford had initiated an appealing narrative of electric vehicles, while GM was left playing catch-up, ultimately resorting to elaborate announcements without a robust action plan. Internal struggles. With the external pressures mounting, General Motors found itself at a crossroads. Internally, the leadership faced challenges that threatened the company's future viability. Reports emerged of unrest within GM as employees expressed concerns over the management's strategic direction and the feasibility of their ambitious electric vehicle plans. The cultural shift required to transition to an all-electric future created an atmosphere of uncertainty. Employees long accustomed to traditional manufacturing processes and gasoline-powered vehicles struggled to adapt to the new vision being presented. The change was not only technical, it required a complete rethinking of company values, operational efficiency, and corporate identity. Amidst these disputes, GM's leadership attempted to reassure employees about the viability of their electric vehicle initiatives. Team-building workshops, meetings, and company-wide communications were launched to promote unity and confidence in the direction the company was heading. Yet the effectiveness of these initiatives was called into question. Frontline employees, concerned about their jobs and futures, found it difficult to fully embrace a vision that felt more aspirational than grounded in reality. The palpable tension within GM indicated a broader existential challenge for the company. Investors and stakeholders grew increasingly anxious about whether GM could transition from its legacy as a gasoline-driven titan to a firm that could captivate the hearts of an environmentally focused consumer base. As Ford moved forward with confidence and tangible momentum, the uncertainty that lingered within GM signified a potential meltdown, with far-reaching implications not only for the company itself, but for the American automotive industry as a whole. General Motors was now faced with not just the challenge of keeping up with Ford, but also the need to revitalize its corporate culture and regain the trust of its consumers and employees. Ford's dominance. Amid the chaos, Ford continued to shine brightly in the media spotlight. Interest surrounding the company skyrocketed as reports of surging pre-orders and positive reviews flooded in. The Mustang Mach-E received accolades from several reputable automotive publications, solidifying its status as a market leader in the electric SUV segment. Critics hailed it as a game changer, illustrating that certain legacy brands could adapt while remaining true to their roots. By leveraging its heritage and reputation, Ford managed to paint a picture of continuity alongside innovation. Its marketing strategy depicted the heritage of the Mustang intertwined with a forward-thinking ethos, breaking down generational barriers and appealing to both loyalists and new customers alike. The messaging struck a chord with consumers. Ford was not just a car manufacturer, it represented an enduring American identity of adventure, freedom, and performance. Furthermore, Ford's commitment to sustainability was demonstrated through partnerships with various environmental organizations and the development of a comprehensive charging network for electric vehicles. This effort showcased Ford's overarching goal of minimizing its carbon footprint, enhancing the brand's reputation as a manufacturer committed to a greener future. As Ford basked in the glow of media coverage and consumer excitement, investors responded positively. The company's stock prices reflected newfound confidence, signaling that stakeholders believed in Ford's vision and capacity to navigate the electric transition. Analysts predicted that Ford was well positioned to reclaim market share and potentially solidify its title as the leader in the automotive industry. Meanwhile, Ford's leadership was keenly aware of the importance of maintaining its momentum. They understood that the narrative of innovation and consumer enthusiasm could shift suddenly. Executives committed to ongoing investment, robust marketing campaigns, and expanding Ford's footprint in the electric vehicle space. This proactive approach was crucial in ensuring that the company would not simply ride the wave of enthusiasm, but rather forge a path of sustained growth. General Motors' strategic retreat. While Ford surged ahead, General Motors had to confront the stark reality of its situation. Faced with mounting pressure and diminished public confidence, GM began to reassess its strategy in navigating the electric vehicle landscape. Internal discussions revealed an urgent need to recalibrate their approach, not just to catch up with Ford, but to redefine its identity in a rapidly changing industry. Recognizing the susceptibility of its position, GM's leadership initiated a series of internal meetings aimed at refocusing their efforts on electric vehicle development. The discussion centered around streamlining processes, boosting funding for electric initiatives, and finding ways to merge the culture of innovation that Ford had successfully harnessed. This strategic retreat was not without its challenges. Insiders expressed concerns about the feasibility of rapid implementation, noting the need for corporate buy-in at all levels. The drive for change required more than just new models. It necessitated an organizational shift towards agility and a readiness to embrace technological advancements that had once felt like a distant goal. In addition, the silence surrounding the Chevy Silverado EV's release left many questioning GM's assertiveness in the electric space. Expectations had been built but dashed, leaving consumers and stakeholders waiting for bold actions. The timeline for GM's product rollout became a significant point of contention, and the pressure mounted to deliver vehicles that could compete directly with Ford's offerings. Realizing that their brand image had taken a hit, GM intensified its public relations activities, aiming to rebuild trust with consumers. Executives participated in high-profile interviews to discuss the company's vision, while launching sustainability initiatives that aimed to improve public perception. The focus shifted to corporate responsibility and environmental stewardship, but skepticism remained regarding whether those initiatives would translate into real-world actions. The road ahead for GM was fraught with challenges, but the company was willing to combat its struggles through strategic retreats and firm commitments to electric futures. The stakes were high, the pressure to reinvent itself was palpable, and only time would tell if GM could regain its footing and emerge from the shadows of its rival. Future outlook. As the automotive industry continued to transition towards electrification, the focus on sustainability became an undeniable priority for both Ford and General Motors. Consumers were no longer satisfied with just the promises of eco-friendliness. They sought tangible action and accountability from automotive manufacturers. This shift represented a broader societal movement towards responsibility and awareness regarding climate change, making it an imperative for all players in the market. Ford recognized this turning tide early and positioned itself strategically, integrating environmental considerations into its entire operational framework. The commitment was not just about producing electric vehicles, but involved rethinking manufacturing processes, sourcing sustainable materials, and investing in renewable energy for production facilities. Ford's efforts aligned with consumer expectations, paving the way for long-term loyalty from environmentally conscious buyers. In contrast, General Motors needed to demonstrate that it could not only make ambitious claims, but also substantiate those claims with real-world results. While GM announced plans for an impressive lineup of electric vehicles by 2035, stakeholders and customers alike remained vigilant. They questioned whether GM could deliver on its promises and whether their production times would match the urgency required by evolving consumer demands. Recognizing the emerging market dynamics, both companies invested in charging infrastructure to facilitate the transition for consumers. Ford took the lead by establishing partnerships with charging networks, creating a reliable and widespread charging infrastructure that alleviated consumers' anxieties about range limitations. GM too took steps to enhance its charging options, but often trailed in communication and execution, further hampering its ability to compete effectively. The race towards sustainable production became crucial not only for brand loyalty, but also for compliance with increasingly stringent environmental regulations. Both automakers faced pressure from government agencies to meet emissions targets and climate commitments. This regulatory landscape was altering the competitive playing field, with companies that failed to adapt running the risk of being left behind. As the automotive giants recalibrated their strategies, discussions around sustainability became deeper and more intricate. Industry forums began to crop up, focusing on electric vehicle technology advancements and the necessity for cooperation among automakers to create viable solutions for recycling batteries and sourcing sustainable raw materials. Through collaborative efforts, key players aimed to ensure that the future of the automotive landscape would be firmly rooted in environmental responsibility. A new battle for market share, with electric vehicles driving the conversation forward, the competitive landscape of the automotive industry had undergone a seismic shift. No longer was the rivalry solely about gas guzzlers and muscle cars. It had transformed into a contest of innovation, technology adoption, and environmental accountability. This evolution meant that both Ford and GM had to reassess their approaches to carving out market share. Ford, riding the wave of its recent electric successes, intensified its focus on brand loyalty by leveraging its classic models and reimagining them in electric formats. The strategy aimed to retain existing customers while enticing new ones. By introducing the electrified versions of its popular F-150 and Mustang models, Ford ensured consumer familiarity, easing the transition to electric while retaining the emotional engagement that defined its brand. GM, on the other hand, faced the daunting task of revitalizing its reputation while attempting to capture market share in the burgeoning electric vehicle space. The Chevrolet Bolt, a compact electric vehicle, was foundational to GM's efforts. However, the car's setbacks, including recalls and quality concerns, complicated the narrative that GM sought to present. Gaining ground in the electric market required not only a compelling product lineup, but also assurances of reliability and customer satisfaction. As both companies scrambled to establish themselves as leaders, foreign automakers such as Volkswagen, Hyundai, and Tesla loomed large on the horizon. These challengers had already made significant inroads into the electric vehicle market, drawing customers who were ready to embrace new technologies and greener alternatives. With other manufacturers competing aggressively, Ford and GM faced a new level of scrutiny over their ability to innovate and meet consumer expectations. Ford responded by turning to its heritage of racing and performance, announcing an electric performance series designed for car enthusiasts. This move not only showcased Ford's commitment to performance, but also created excitement for the growing base of electric vehicles. Meanwhile, GM attempted to highlight its technological advances, focusing on features such as driver assistance technologies and seamless connectivity. The competition for market share was no longer a zero-sum game. Automakers recognized that collaboration could benefit the industry as a whole. Partnerships began to emerge as the need for charging infrastructure, battery technology, and sustainable practices became paramount. By collaborating, automakers could leverage shared knowledge to accelerate innovation and effectively compete against new entrants in the market. As Ford and GM battled for superiority in this new landscape, the trajectory of their rivalry illustrated how deeply intertwined the future of the automotive industry was with sustainability, technology, and customer engagement. Winning the battle for market share meant not just beating rivals, but succeeding in a rapidly evolving marketplace characterized by eco-consciousness and technological sophistication. What are your thoughts? Do you believe Ford's approach will secure its dominance in the electric vehicle sector, or can GM turn the tide with its ambitious plans? Let us know your thoughts in the comment below.